Good. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Building Resilience for College Success and Beyond. My name is Emily Hurdle, and I work with the Tutorial and Academic Success Center, also known as TAS. I think we have to pause. Why is it okay, here we are. Our learning objectives for today, what we're going to do is we're going to define and identify types of resilience, identify characteristics of resilience, understand the importance of resilience, learn strategies for building resilience, and if you'd like to share personal stories and strategies for building resilience. So, what is resilience? Resilience is our ability to recover and positively adapt to adverse situations. We can also define resilience as our ability to bounce back from life's hardships. Types of resilience. Some types of resilience are mental and emotional resilience. That's basically the one where we're going to be mostly focused on today. There's also physical resilience, which is related, is also supports mental and emotional resilience. Basically, physical resilience, if you break away, how fast you're able to recover as far as healing or recover from an illness. And also there's community resilience. Basically, that is when a whole community suffers from maybe, let's say, a natural disaster or flood. And it encompasses how well the community is resourced and able to come back to their normal level of function. But again, our focus today is going to be mainly on mental and emotional resilience. Okay, some quick facts about resilience. Resilience is not a fixed personality trait, which means that, it's not whether you either have it or not, but rather it can be learned. Resilience can be learned and strengthened throughout the lifespan. Resilience is like a muscle. Like I said, it can be strengthened. And basically what that entails is if you are faced with an adverse situation, maybe it's not too extreme, but somewhat challenging, and you find a way to overcome and you are resilient in that situation. When you were faced with another situation that may be a little more challenging, because you've handled a previous situation, you have built your resilience, your strength of resilience, and you're more apt to be able to handle even more challenging and adverse circumstances. Resilience is a necessary life skill. As you know, we all face challenges, setbacks, and some may be different. We may not experience the same. Each individual may have different sets of challenges and adverse experiences, but it's safe to say that we're all going to experience some at some point in our lifetime. So in order to keep going, we need to be resilient. And which just brings us to why resilience is important. Well, resilience helps us to deal with life's challenges, as we just mentioned. And it also allows us to overcome obstacles. It enables us to reach our goals. It helps us to live more meaningful, happier lives. And it makes us more emotionally available to help friends, family, and community. Now we're going to talk about some characteristics of resilience. I'd like to start off with having a growth mindset. I think that kind of sets the stage and support other characteristics of resilience. So what kind of mindset do you have? Basically, it's usually the growth mindset or fixed mindset. A growth mindset is what is needed to build and strengthen resilience. Like here with the growth mindset, a person would make statements such as, I can learn anything I want to, opposed to someone with a fixed mindset. They would say, I'm either good at it or I'm not. So it's kind of like fixed, no room for growth. A person with a growth mindset would say, when I'm frustrated, I persevere. Opposed to the fixed mindset, when I'm frustrated, I give up. And one other statement of a growth mindset is, I want to be challenged. And a person with a fixed mindset does not like to be challenged. I do not like to be challenged. So basically, having a growth mindset is key in with building resilience. And having social support. Building resilience is not just something that you necessarily do all by yourself as an individual. Being resilient is having social support, having friends, family, co-workers, church, being active in the community, having people to go to in challenging times, to seek out advice. That's very important in being resilient. Being adaptive and flexible. Resilience basically is being flexible and being able to adapt rather than, it's bending rather than breaking under pressure. Self-awareness is another characteristic. Just being aware of like cues that signal, okay, you understand when you are becoming stressed or maybe overly stressed, or you're getting your emotions getting out of control, being aware of that, and secondly, being able to regulate those emotions, self-regulation. Perseverance, being able to persevere, to keep moving forward, even when things, you're really being challenged, but still persevere. Sometimes you may not be able to go as fast or the direct path that you may have set out to go on, but you still will continue to move forward in some way. Like I said, may not be as fast, but you're still going to be moving towards your goal. And another characteristics of resilience is help seeking. A resilient person will seek out help when they need it. It's not saying that they won't try to solve the problem on their own or, try to think of solutions, but they realize sometimes that they need assistance of others. So they will seek out help rather than just stay and accept the consequences of a bad situation that could probably have been prevented had they seeked out help. Also, characteristics of resilience is having an attitude of gratitude. It kind of goes back to, you may have heard people say, count your blessings. So basically that's what that is. Just, taking the time to, even though when things are may seem really bad, take a time to count the things that are good in the situation. And by doing that will help uplift your spirits and give you more energy to be able to persevere. I won't go through all of these, but just some more characteristics: optimism, believing that there is a solution to the problem, seeing the glass half full rather than half empty, problem solving, self-efficacy, self-confidence, just believing in yourself, having a life purpose, humor, sometimes just, lighten up. It'll cause you to be able to continue. Resourcefulness, being able to seek out resources, making the best of what you have, and self-care. In order to be resilient, you have to take care of yourself, your physical health, your mental health, get proper sleep, eat healthy. All of that is going to help you to be more resilient. And perspective, have the right perspective. A lot of times things may happen. It may seem really bad, but put it in perspective. It's probably not the end of the world if you really think about it. So some situations that require resilience. If you're in college and maybe you fail a course, and that can be devastating, but you need to find a way to not let that keep you from pursuing your goals. So how can you bounce back from that? Maybe you need a tutor, or get some, do some extra reading over the summer. Maybe if it's a tough course, maybe not take as many courses along with that course. So just trying to figure out ways to overcome. Maybe not getting into the program or study that you had hoped. Well, I know that can be that can feel devastating, but it probably is not the end of the world. I know a lot of times that may be easier said than done, but maybe there's a similar program, or maybe you can have to do it at a later time, or just find ways to still move towards your goal. Have another option. Matter of fact, that's one of the strategies of resilience, having options. So another situation is like loss of personal property. Maybe your laptop gets stolen, or your phone gets stolen. You have all this information on it. And how do you bounce back from that? So, and of course, the loss of a loved one. We all know that's a situation that requires resilience, and relationship breakup, job loss, serious or chronic illness. And a lot of these things are things that most of us will probably likely maybe experience at least some of these things throughout our lives. So you can see how being resilient and strengthening your resilience can be a useful skill. So here we are, strategies for building resilience. Seeking out information whenever you're in a situation that's challenging, that's adverse. The more information that you can get to help you better understand the situation, that helps to relieve some of the stress and help you to better function in order to solve the problem, solve the situation. And like I said previously, always keep moving towards your goal. You may not be able to move as fast, but you can always do something to keep moving towards the goal. I would say, well, just take something like just with your studies. Maybe you have a headache, and you really feel like, oh gosh, I'm probably not going to be able to concentrate on this calculus. But maybe I can read over my notes from the English class. So that's maybe you're not just totally stopping. You are getting something accomplished. You are steadily moving towards your goal, even though you may not be able to tackle what you previously would like to have accomplished. And seek medical and or psychological care when needed. Again, self-care is another key aspect of being resilient. So you need to be physically as healthy as possible in order to help build your resilience and to be resilient when situations arise, that adverse situations that require resilience. Helping other people, even though you may be in an adverse situation, you still there are still things that you can do to help other people, and helping others, and has been proven to lift motivation and also help with resilience. Maybe something like, let's say, maybe you have time, available time that you can use to help someone, volunteer or neighbor or something, just doing something like that. Or maybe you don't have time, but you have other resources, maybe money or whatever, that you can do something to help another person. Even though, like I say, even though you're working through challenges yourself, still maybe look for ways that you can do something to help someone else. And in turn, it also helps you. Another strategy is reflect on times when you successfully overcame an obstacle, when you were resilient. So, just think about something that may have happened and you were able to get through it successfully. That helps build your confidence, knowing that, hey, well, if I got through that, surely I can get through this as well. Other strategies for building resilience, like I said, having options, kind of planning ahead. If I'm not able to get in this program, then I can do this, or just have an option gives you that flexibility. And as we mentioned, self-care, taking care of your physical or mental health helps you to be resilient. Getting, like I said, perspective of the situation, we talked about that. A lot of times it's something that I do is when I'm challenged with a situation, okay, I'll say to myself, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen, okay, out of this? And, once I identify what the worst thing that can happen, okay, I can handle that. So once I've said, I've accepted that, and I can deal with the worst outcome, then that frees me up. Then I can get to work to be more resilient and solve the problem, and more than likely avoid the worst outcome. Another strategy for building resilience is avoid all or nothing attitudes. Basically, it's like, I would say, for example, you take a full, let's say 12 hours, credit hours, and you find that with the math and the science and the English and all the other stuff and the obligations outside of school, you find that things are just starting to get a little bit unmanageable. And rather than just say, rather than just stop completely, which would be like, well, it's getting hard to manage, so I'm just going to quit. No, rather maybe say, well, okay, what am I doing well in? Which subjects am I doing well in? You know, which subjects maybe that I enjoy. Um, maybe I'll, withdraw from one or two, um, and at least keep moving towards the goal. Even withdrawing from three and keeping one is better than not going at all. So rather saying that, well, if I can complete these 12 hours, then I'm just not going to go, then you would say, to be resilient, say, well, I'll just do half of the time. And then maybe once I get a handle of this, have 6 hours, then I'll maybe take 9 hours and then maybe 12 hours. But you're still moving towards your goal, even though you're not accomplishing as fast as you had hoped. That's okay. You're still moving towards your goal. And another thing is always seek out the positives in all situations, no matter how bad they may seem. And sometimes this may be a little bit difficult. I know personally, I had some situations that I felt was pretty bad situation, personal loss and everything. And I remember to seek out this positives in all the situation. I always felt like it's, how can I find positive in something like this, such a loss. I almost felt guilty about trying to find something positive. But anyway, I did seek out, and I wrote down, things that I found positive. And it not just, at one point, as I was going through the situation, maybe over the course of a month or two, things that when I would reflect, okay, what did I learn? Or what benefit of this that maybe can be used in the future to help solve future problems or help someone else. Okay, then next thing is build social networks. That was mentioned earlier, as far as social support. This is a part of building resilience, having people or resources to go to in times of need. And at Pitt, we have resources so you can connect to your campus resources. We have the Pitt Community College Counseling Center. They're located in the Go-Ed Student Center, Suite 170. And that's a good place you can go. And, no matter what situation you're dealing with, whether it's home or school, they have resources. They can point you to resources. A lot of times things you've never thought about, but, that's that help seeking characteristic, seeking out help. And a lot of times it's, the time to have the, there's kind of like being resilient requires some preparation. So, you have to make a conscious effort to seek out these resources before maybe you're in a situation. So when something happens, you don't have to think so hard, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You've already thought about it, or maybe not that situation, but you already have in mind who you will turn to. And, if you're faced with the hardship. And the next thing is like post-traumatic or positive growth. A lot of times and it's like strengthening resilience. A lot of times when we go through things and we overcome successfully, we have a better appreciation for life, and we just feel better as a person, and it just helps us to just live more happier and fulfilling life. And that's through overcoming obstacles, being resilient and overcoming obstacles. So now I'd like to ask anyone if we hear of any stories of resilience. Can you recall a situation when you were resilient? And if so, what strategies did you use to overcome the situation? Okay, if there are no stories, that will end the presentation of our resilience talk today. Building resilience for college success and beyond. Always remember, in every situation, every cloud has a silver lining. We just have to look for it. Thank you very much.